Hello and welcome to our season 1 recap of Penthouse. This episode is all about what happened when Min Sula fell off the roof. So let's get started. We start off with Yoon-hee waking up. She has blood all over her hand. She answers the phone. They tell her that her kid got into the school and she's just like, what? What's going on? It rewinds. The camera just rewinds all the way back to that night. We find out that Sola was pushed off the roof by, it looked like a woman's hand. I'm not spoiling myself on this since I'm binging it. So it looked like a woman's hand. So-yeon is riding the elevator down, sees her falling, sees her crash into the bottom. She sees her hit the statue, screams, and passes out. The other people are like just partying, having a good time in their, I don't know, Baroque costumes, something or other from the English period piece stuff. And they don't even know what's going on. They look out of the room they're in and see the other room, which has the statue in it. And Sola is just being held by the statue. She's dead. I mean, there's no way to survive that. If she comes back, maybe that'll happen, but there's no way to survive this fall and then land like that. She's dead. Blood is everywhere. It's dripping all down the statue into the water, making a pool. Not everyone screams. One person sees it in the main group and screams. She calls her husband over. He sees it and gasps. They call somebody else over. She sees it and screams. Dante finally gets called over, sees it, immediately turns off the lights in that room so that no one else at the party can see it. They clear everyone out, just to kind of hide it, go look at the fireworks or something. And they're like, what is this? What's going on? They decide, instead of calling the cops, which I thought they were going to do, I thought cops were going to show up, firemen were going to show up, something, and it was just going to be a big news cycle. But no, they decide to cover this up. They're like, look, she is not bringing down the cost of our penthouse and our kids are already entangled with her. We do not need this drama because it'll make our kids get in trouble. And the cost of the penthouse will go down if there's a murder like this inside. So they cover it up. The men take the body off of the statue. The women clean up all the blood. The men decide, Dante basically decides, let's run this as a suicide. They take her back to her apartment, act as if she fell off the roof of the apartment, and they burn her apartment because they couldn't find her cell phone quick enough. One of the men, the lawyer, loses $1 million watch while they're doing all of this. He does not realize he lost it, but I feel like that'll play a big role in the next episode. Like I said, I'm not spoiling myself since all the episodes are out. I'm just going to watch the next episode fresh without knowing anything, which is wonderful. All right. They finish all that up, go back to Hera's palace. The women have cleaned up all the blood. Everything's done. They only had like 2 hours to do this in. There's a ticking time clock, which makes it so much more exquisite of a watch. They finish everything. The big party has begun with, like, a senator comes, the senator that we already have met. He comes, it's a big event, even more fireworks go off. And it seems as if they pulled it off. No one knows that 2 hours ago, this statue was all bloody with a person in it. Everything seems okay. But So-yeon, who passed out in the elevator, wakes up. She has an IV in her. She realized she passed out. She thinks, oh my God, what happened? Goes down to the party. Everything looks fine. And she's like, no, wait. Everything can't be fine. I saw her falling. She tries to look for clues around. She looks at the sky. The ceiling's been cleared out. She looks at the statue. Everything looks normal. But then she starts to see clues. There's some blood on Dante's shirt. There's some blood behind somebody's ear. There's a little bit of blood on one person's finger. And the senator points to a shoe that was behind the statue. It's hilarious because the senator's like, ooh, that shoe, is it from Italy? The parents are like, oh my God, the shoe. That's the shoe that we didn't know where it was. So they try to play it off as the kids did it. They must have just thrown a shoe up there. The kids are looking on like, okay, boomer, whatever you're talking about. But one of the kids looks guilty, super guilty. And that kid is Eun-byul. So-yeon freaks out, goes to Sul-ah's house, finds out that it's been burned down. She kind of gets word that it's been burned down by the senator, just stuff going on. But anyway, finds out it's been burned down, follows the ambulance in this mad rush to try to get her kid. She gets stopped by the butler. The butler is the guy that's been helping her this whole time. We see a flashback to the night of she lost her baby, or her baby was born, and he tells her that he orchestrated the whole thing. They switched babies. One baby went to the orphanage. The other baby, they switched with her, who was the sick baby. So she's been caring for this sick baby who is another person's baby this whole time, and her baby went to the orphanage. Okay. She needs a tranquilizer. She's just freaking out about it. She wakes up and he has her tied all to the bed so she'll calm down. But anyway, they devise a plan. Dante wants the body cremated. He has his butler do it. The butler keeps the body. They cremate another body. And they get an autopsy on the body. The autopsy showed that Sul-ah swallowed something. What she swallowed was the USB. She swallowed the USB. They take the USB out of her body and give it to So-yeon. Meanwhile, everybody back at Hera's palace think they completely got away with it. But the cops do show up, and the cops ask them tons of questions. They make sure they get their record straight, that they had nothing to do with it. The kids, seriously don't care. But Eun-byul's acting weird. So they're like, why are you acting so weird, Eun-byul? Yoon-hee, the one who woke up with the blood all over her hands, runs to the palace. She doesn't know what kid died. She's hoping that all the kids are fine because she knows she was drunk. She doesn't know what she did that day. The kids are like, what's wrong with you? And they see the blood on her hands. They're like, Psycho Ajuma, go away. And they end up leaving her there. The cop who's on the case feels like something's going on here, but his boss tells him to just push it under the rug. It was an orphan. It looks like he's kind of paid off. It was an orphan, she's getting cremated. This case is closed. Go on about your other more important crime cases. The Penthouse Hera people are trying to they're trying to move on with what happened. Dante is telling them all what to say. He's just a gangster boss. He's trying to tell them all what to do. They're all handling it in various different ways. The doctor is completely against this whole thing. It goes against his code of ethics as a doctor, even though he doesn't really have many ethics elsewhere. So he's just against the whole thing. It seems like at one point in life, perhaps he was a good person. The most important thing that happens, it happens at the end of the episode, is we find out how Sol-ah got some of the cuts on her. Because the last time we saw Sol-ah, she was taped to the chair, but for the most part, she was fine physically. However, when she was thrown from the roof, she had scrapes all over her body. One of the cuts came from Cheon Seo-jin. She went back to the house and cut her face really quickly. There's 2 more cuts. So I feel like we're going to find out where those other 2 cuts came from the next episode. And I'm excited to find out. At the end of the episode, we see So-jin and Dante, and they're cheating. They're kissing each other and thinking, oh yeah, we did it. We got away with it. So-yeon is watching them in the hallway or wherever she is. Somewhere outside, So-yeon is watching them. She collapses on the ground, makes this tiny clatter of noise. Dante hears her, thinks someone's outside, and goes outside to find out. It ends there. Oh, I love it so much. So I'm going to try to watch episode, 5 as quickly as possible, because I have to find out if Dante saw her there or if she's able to get out of this situation. With how this writer writes, I feel like He could have just seen her there and just been like, hey, what are you doing up here, baby? Or something strange can happen. Literally anything can happen with this writer, and he doesn't see her. So we'll see. But I'll catch you on the next episode where I definitely find out.